Hey everyone, this is Steve Weintraub with Collider, and I want to say welcome to the Collider studio at Sundance, presented by Rendezvous Capital. We're here supporting indie cinema, and we're supporting LA Wildfire Relief Live, which is an organization that's benefiting 5 amazing places because of all the fire damage in LA, and we're really happy to be partnering up. If you'd like to be supporting what we're also supporting, please check out lawildfirerelief.live. If you can donate, thank you so much. And why I get to talk to you guys. I really want to start with congratulations and congrats for being at Sundance presenting your series.
Thank you.
I have a million questions, but everyone watching will have not seen it yet. So I'm looking right at you. Can you sort of tell everyone what it's about and why you wanted to make it?
Yeah, so Deli Boys is about 2 Pakistani American brothers in Philadelphia. They're very pampered, and that's about the only thing they have in common. And in our pilot episode, after a family tragedy, they inherit their father's business only to discover that it's a front for an international cocaine smuggling operation.
I think you left out one important thing. It's a lot bloodier than people are going to think it's going to be.
There is quite a bit of gore in this show, but I like to think that it's tempered and it's in all the right places
Very tasteful.
to make it enjoyable and not like excessive.
For the 3 actors, what was it like actually reading a script like this? And how quickly were you like, please, for the love of God, let me be in this?
I read the pilot like in April of 22. I think it was like 3 months before they started casting, and I was just like, holy shit! I have never read a script like this where I like, you know, I needed this job. So I called my team right away and I was like, get me as much information as you can on this. And they're like, we don't know anything about it yet. We just know the creator's name is Abdullah Saeed. And I'm like, that name sounds like a name I can pronounce. And I told my manager about it and she's like, oh, I rep the guy. Let me set up a meeting. And so I met Abdullah and you know.
We took dabs at my house.
We took dabs.
They did drugs.
and
he was cast.
And he was like, have you ever taken a dab before? I was like, yeah. And then I did it. I was like, I've never done this before, man. It was rough, but it was amazing. It was totally worth it. And yeah, here we are today.
Going down the line.
So Abdullah Saeed is the creator of Bong Appetit, where you get high and then you eat cannabis-infused food. Like, that's the show. So when I read the script, it is so multi-genre and beyond definition and beyond boundaries that I'd never read a script like this. And I also feel like when I read my character, Abdullah had written this character for me. Like, it felt so tailor-made.
Can I actually just ask a quick question
of
Abdullah? Was it her work on Law and Order SVU that impacted you to say, I need to cast her?
The night of, actually.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted to use Law and Order.
It was Law and Order. And, but yeah, no, truly, you know, Poorna has had some amazing performances. And at the time I was writing this script, you know, she was in my mind with this character because I was like, this lady who plays an auntie or a mom in a lot of stuff really has badass energy. And I want to see her as a badass. And that's what the Lucky character was on the page. And I can't believe that I'm sitting here with her. I can't believe she's the one playing Lucky. That's her.
I can't believe I'm here either. Really?
Listen,
I can't believe it.
I'm happy this all worked out, but I interrupted the line. So please, what was it like for you?
For me, it's pretty simple. Like, if I read something and it really is, I do stand up. And so for me, comedy is like first and foremost for me. And as someone growing up and, you know, acting and stuff, a lot of times I would get things. They would be, you know, you're playing sort of an adjacent person, you're peripheral kind of character, and you're sort of, you know, you come in and you do your thing and you leave. So to have a project that is sort of centered around a South Asian family, but is comedy first, is so rare. That's not really like a thing that is around. And, you know, that really stood out to me, that comedy was like the forefront. It wasn't sort of like a thesis statement about being brown, you know what I mean? It was sort of like, no, it's just a really funny show. And then the world that he created was so unique. It just felt like I was reading something that I wanted to see when I was a little kid. And I was like, oh man, this is sick.
I don't
Like,
know about that, but
I
yeah.
was gonna say when
no,
you were,
I wanted to see it.
when you were 10
I
years
wanted to
old, if
see
you
it.
wanted this show, you
I
have
wanted
a
this
pretty
show.
fucked up mind.
When I was like 12, I was like, man, I would love to see like a crazy, me and my cousin saw like Goodfellas and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Our,
Yeah, yeah.
our parents
Where'd you get that from?
Exactly. Our parents are pretty loosey-goosey with us seeing like, to them it was like, as long as the movie is like considered a good movie, the rating doesn't matter. So we
I
saw
think
like
that's
a lot
true
of
for a lot of South Asians.
Yeah.
I grew up watching stuff that was way.
I saw Blue Lagoon at the age of 8.
There we go. So I was
Again,
like,
I've learned.
interested.
I understand why all of you are the way you are. It all makes sense.
So I just felt like it was genre, it was comedy, and it was dealing with people that usually in most forms of, jobs that we'd go out for are like peripheral people, but get to be front and center in something that's comedy first. And that really stood out to me. Yeah.
I have questions for the two of you, but I first want to say the three of you have such great chemistry, and you never really know if it's all going to work, right? So when did you three realize, oh, this is working, and when did you two realize, oh, we did this? The cast is good.
Go ahead.
Well, I didn't cast these guys, but I'm really glad that they were cast.
Yeah, that's right. So, we had a different showrunner on the pilot. Michelle came in for the season, so she didn't get to pick. But, it really was. There was a time at which I saw myself as the Raj character, right? And I wrote the first draft in 2019, so this was a while ago. And, as time went on, when I first met Saagar, I was like, I think I'm Raj and he's Mir. You know what I mean? And then we met Asif, and then Asif ended up being Mir, which Saagar didn't. And then Saagar ended up being Raj, and everything sort of fell into place. And I think the first time, on the pilot, right? Nisha Ganatra, who directed the pilot, she's the homie. Yeah. We went to see the whole cast, and she was like in like a studio with them, and they were all like in sweatpants and like, being actors, and like they just felt like a family already.
Also called a rehearsal, but continue.
Yeah, this is. I'm betraying my own inexperience here. It was a rehearsal, but they just these three and Iqbal, who plays Baba, really felt like an actual family. I was like, and I'm a brown person. When I see a brown family on TV, like I'm like, does that look right? And this looked right to me. Yeah.
Well, I mean, for me, I had read the script before I saw the pilot. The pilot was already shot, but I had read the script first, and everything these guys are saying, I thought, oh my God, this guy's a genius. And it had everything. It had heart, it had crime, and it had comedy, and it had Philadelphia, which is where I'm from, and he lives. So I was the same way. I was like, I got to get onto this show. I got to find my way.
Michelle calls the genre a crimedy, which I love.
She came up with that.
She came up with that.
I might use that in the headline.
Yeah.
I might say crime.
I'm going to get into so much trouble.
She said it one time, just
By
like
the way,
randomly, and we all hooked into it.
You think I'm joking with you when I say it might be the headline, but it might be part of the headline.
Okay, cool. Well, good.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if everybody was on board with it. But
I think
we like it because
I think it's
is
accurate.
what it is.
Yeah, it's a new genre.
Yeah.
First let's answer the question of the three of you. And when did you three realize, oh shit, we're good. We have it.
I think it was like while we were shooting the pilot.
Yeah.
It was us three, and it was Iqbal, and there's Brian, who plays Ahmed Uncle. Yep. We were all just in a room, and I felt like it was like a tensionless room, and we were all just joking and laughing, and it just felt super comfortable, and there was this energy to all of us that I was feeling like this is gonna go by smoothly. Like this feels like we're heightening each other's jokes. We kind of like get each other, understand each other's jokes, and are able to riff off of each other nicely. And yeah, I mean, like I feel like we made magic.
I think the three of you are like the two of your two relationship, it makes or break the show. Like if you don't believe, you know what I mean? But so let me do the next question, which is, and I teased you about this last night. What your character likes drugs, uses drugs, and is so different than something that you played in the Marvel universe. What do you think people that know you from like your Marvel roles, if you will, are going to think about this character?
Yeah. It's interesting because my opening shot in Miss Marvel is me like doing dua, which is like a prayer right before starting breakfast, and that's like it's such a far religious extreme thing, and then like my character in Deli Boys starts off the morning after an orgy. And so like just the juxtaposition between those two is insane, and I think the fans are gonna see Deli Boys and they're gonna realize like, oh man,
he's got range.
No, like they'll see that like, okay, this is an actor and he's doing roles, right? I know a lot of people after Miss Marvel thought like, oh, Saagar must be a religious person, which I'm not, right? But I dabble, right?
And by that he means dabs.
But they're gonna see Deli Boys and they're gonna see me as just a human and an actor who is able to do. I have range.
Sure.
I can do multiple
Sure.
things.
So
You got it.
I have a question for you two. If assuming the show is a hit, how much did you think about
When the show is a hit.
like I butchered the way I said that. When
You were right. I don't know what Asif's doing.
I'm always curious though, like with creators, how much are you thinking about when you're writing a show? Like, this is my 3-season plan. This is my 5-year plan. And how much are you sort of like, okay, let's just figure out this season. And if we get renewed, let's figure it out.
Well, let me just say this, that when I read the script, I thought everything is in there. This show has humanity and the characters have so much dimension that this show could go for 5 years. That when you read a script when I am going on to look at scripts, I want a show to have wings, and this show is an eagle.
We're flying, baby. We're flying, baby.
Are you saying this just because of the Philadelphia thing?
Yes. The Eagles, yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
it's
We're
like
flying.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Great
Dude,
goal.
I didn't
It
even
was
realize.
totally inadvertent.
That's how Philly she is. She doesn't even realize it.
By the way, Michelle was in a Geno's Steaks commercial. It is on YouTube.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
This is really taking me down. Is this here to take me down?
This is a
I
hit
didn't
piece.
even
Yeah.
realize. Wow.
But yeah, I was gonna say there was, when you pitch a show and you're by yourself, you don't have all the brains in a writer's room, right? There was a version of this show that I projected out into 4 or 5 seasons. But I think like season 5 was like season 4, but on a boat or something. It was kind of like a silly, like, oh yeah, that's the whole plan. But
So
then
is this season called Deli Boys on a Boat?
it will be. It will be in 2031.
Yeah, we're no longer running the show.
But yeah, so really, there's all kinds of ideas. Like we've all, I had the first set of ideas, or this could happen here, this could happen here, this could happen way at the end, right? And then when Michelle came on, that exponentially increased. And then when we got our writers, we had the best room, we had the best time. And everybody then incorporated those ideas, added even more ideas. And truly, the best ideas in this show came from everywhere, right? Yeah. They came from me, they came from Michelle, they came from our producers, right? The cast has taken incredible ownership of their characters, and the writers as well, because that's how we like to roll. We really encourage them to like identify with this show, own your episode, own that storyline, like take big swings. And I think that's how we got here.
And also your question on like when do we feel like a family? It is that feeling comes from the top down. It really, really does. And so the creators and Onyx and just everyone on board just felt they were approaching this is such a humble, excited, creative, this has never been done before, new audience. They were so excited about it that it was so deeply collaborative, and that's why I think we feel like a family.
I'm curious. So for the actors, there's a lot of wild stuff I've seen the first 5 episodes. There's a lot of wild stuff. What day did you, when you were getting ready to shoot something, without spoiling it, was like, what was a scene that you're like, I can't believe I'm about to go to set and film this? Do you know what I mean? if you had that?
I mean, there were a lot of those days. You know, there was. I mean, I feel so lucky to just be a part of this project. Every day felt like this for me. You know, it's just such. It's the job of my life, and I get to work with all these cool
Who
people.
gave you $5 to say that?
He did.
Right. Okay.
He's got
Just
all
making
that
sure.
Gino
No,
stick
no.
money. Yeah,
like
yeah.
honestly though, right? Like we lived in the best place.
We lived in the best
I like there was
building.
We're going on a Nemo tangent.
Yeah.
No, there was a moment where I talked to Poorna and I was
Yeah.
like, Poorna, listen, I think we're dead, and
Yeah.
this is our heaven.
Yeah.
Because like we're living in this cool place. None of our loved ones are around us, meaning like we might be dead. We get to live our dream job. I think we're dead.
Yeah. He literally said
We were
that.
in the hot tub when I said
not
that.
in that way.
No, like there was.
Yeah, it was that
the
way.
building had an
Communal.
amazing hot
Yeah.
tub, and it's just every day I felt like
The
I get to do
luckiest
this.
people
Yeah.
on earth. Yeah.
Yeah, mine was. It wasn't necessarily like
Here we go.
a scary thing. It was more so like, with the script, there's a certain amount of, like he was saying, gore to comedy ratio. So I was very interested in what that ratio would actually be. And so when we were shooting the pilot, I was very interested in. There's a moment that happens at the end of the pilot that is very pivotal to where we go as a family and our lives and everything. So that moment to me, I was very interested to see like what on the gore spectrum, were we going to go to a 10 or are we going to go to like a network 2 kind of thing? And I was very, very happy that it was at a 10. Yeah, and it really just in that first episode, that moment at the end really puts a stamp and a flag as to like where the show is going, what the show is about, and what the tone is going to go moving forward. And I think it really gives the audience a sort of jolt where they go like, oh, what we thought the show was going to be, it's way crazier than that. And that to me was like, oh, and also to the point of like everyone being on the show, it felt like for the family aspect, it felt like really there's a thing where you work on shows and it feels like I've been on shows, I'm happy to work, but sometimes you get on set and it feels very like, hey, we're all here to do a job. We're going to do our job and then we're going to go home, and we're not necessarily invested, to the nth degree on the success or failure of the show. We're just going to do our job. This felt very different. And I feel like I mentioned it when we were doing the pilot. It just felt very much like, every director to crafty to makeup to special effects to set design, everybody felt that they were really invested in the show and they had an interest because of how good the project was. They wanted this to be a show that they would work on for a long time. And you notice that like when you see like the deli where we work at, there's, Jessie and her team, they did things in that deli that I've worked on sets where I'm like, that is a level of detail that I know it wasn't in the job description for you. That was you going above and beyond to do that. And even to that crazy stunt that happens at the end of the first episode, they took a lot of care in making, even with wardrobe, Kaylee with wardrobe, in making sure that it was insane. We did tests for the stunt that happened at the end. And they were like, so there's a level of investment top to bottom here that really does feel like a team that's trying to win.
Sure.
yeah,
And that goes, sorry, just real quick to add, that goes all the way up to our studio, to our network, to the people promoting and
That's why
marketing
we're here.
the show.
Yeah.
I know.
And also for the gore, I got to shout out our fellow EP, Jenny Connor.
Yes.
She protected the
Yeah.
gore in this show.
She did.
And with her, like, deep understanding of television, she calibrated it. And I think it had a massive effect on the show.
I'm basically out of time with you. I have to wrap, but I want to do two last things.
Sure.
For all of you guys,
Yeah.
the first season is 10 episodes. Which episode are you most excited for people to see?
We were just talking about that in the van.
It's not like individual.
An individual. Which episode of 1 through 10 is the one that you can't wait for people to see?
I'm wondering what you're going to say.
I'm going to say the one that Abdullah and I wrote together, which is set in Philadelphia. And
That's the right answer.
that is the right answer. I knew it.
Wait, do you want to give the number or you don't want to say?
It's one. It's Well, we switched the order because it's so
it's
good.
5.
It's 5.
I
I think it's 105. Yeah.
I
Did
know
you
what
see
5
it?
is. Yes.
I know the other
I
one.
can't give anything away. I won't spoil it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You've seen
I've-
that.
I haven't seen 6. I've seen the first 5.
Yeah.
I think then you saw what I think you saw.
I think so.
Guys, we don't have time. Pick a number.
Yeah, they're talking about 5. They're talking about 5.
Yeah, I think we're talking about 5.
Yeah.
Michelle and I also really loved 8,
Yes.
which was written by our 2 most junior writers in the room, and they crushed it. And directed by Fawzia Mirza, who is such a talent.
So good.
Yeah.
For you 3?
I really liked episode 4. I mean, I love them all, but episode 4, we have a cool guest in there who I didn't know. I mean, he's a distant cousin of mine through marriage. It's like a 4th cousin. Yeah, I had such a blast working with him, and there's a montage in there, and it's just so cool.
Seamless.
Yeah.
Mine is 6 because I get to kick. There's someone who is like my brother, like one of my best friends, and I get to kick his ass.
This is someone extremely famous, all right? The most famous person on the show.
By a mile.
Yeah,
Yes, by a mile.
and he engages for the first time ever in like physical action.
In a scripted show. It's the first scripted show.
It's his
Yeah.
acting debut.
And he's a good actor,
Yeah.
man.
Emmy.
Yeah.
I see an Emmy.
Right? Because this is hard. What he was doing was hard stuff. I mean, it was
So
pretty
hard.
physical. And,
Yeah.
I mean, we were all like, oh, holy shit. So this guy can do anything.
Yeah.
Mine's 10. Mine's the finale. Because I feel like watching the finale, for me, as you get all the way to the end, you have ideas in your head. I feel like as a viewer where you're like, oh, this is probably where it's going to, whatever. There's no possibility of this continuing because it's such a crazy world we're living in as characters. But I feel like what they were able to do for the finale and that last moment of that episode sets us up for such a crazy hopeful season 2 that it just felt like even as I was reading it of like, oh man, like doors are off the hinges for season 2 because it's like we have transformed in a way, and the world that we're living in has also, where it just feels like the reins are off for season 2. And I think as someone watching it, you would just get so excited to be like, man, I can't wait to see what these guys are gonna do for season 2.
Like just when you think you can't top it, every episode just tops it.
Yeah, and I also want to say episode 9 is amazing.
You're gonna say
my
every
wife is in
episode.
it, and then the director is the hottest guy on the planet.
Ever.
He is.
Yeah.
Truly.
That is
He's
the
the most
hottest guy
attractive
on the
person
planet.
any of us have ever seen.
Like I just saw him at Sundance and I just pinched his bum.
Yeah,
Like I couldn't help myself. I knew HR was close by, but still.
right now, our handlers are like,
Yeah, they're like, no, don't say that.
This is actually my last question. I have so many more, but I've been given the wrap up signal like 10
Sure.
minutes ago. I am, and I mentioned it to you last night, I am a huge Damon Lindelof fan, and you are in Lanterns, which because Damon is doing it, I know it'll be good. When do you, I don't know if you've started filming,
Yeah.
like I don't know, what can you tell people about it? And what are you allowed to say?
This is the first script that I've read that I understand why there's an NDA. You know what I mean? Like I was like, everything is like so insane. I will say the weirdest story. I mean, I'm not gonna tell the story. It's so weird. But it is the best writing that I have ever read because I don't know anything about sci-fi and I don't care actually about sci-fi. Wait, I'm coming back to you. I don't know
There's a
anything about
garbage can nearby if you
sci-fi.
want to put yourself in it, Abdullah.
But this script, it makes sci-fi seem like my world. Like it's so accessible to me. I understand everything about this world, even though I don't understand this world. So it's the best sci-fi script I've ever read. Jesus fucking Christ.
You did it.
Thank you.
So real quick, so you've started filming and
We start Tuesday.
oh, you literally start in a few days.
Yeah, I mean we do the whole.
dope, man. I can't believe
Oh,
it.
yeah, we do
That's so
we start
cool.
camera testing and stuff Tuesday, and we go right after.
I'm so happy for, first of all, I'm so happy for all of you being at Sundance with this and having like Hulu, they give a shit because you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm so happy for that. And I'm also
God,
so
I'm so
happy.
sorry.
Oh, listen,
This is me?
you're fired.
Oh my god, it's me. Oh my god, thank God. It's
Put that on record.
Oh,
My
they-
phone was on silent.
In that case, it's all good.
Right,
we're
yeah.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
help.
Right. I will say though, I'm really, really excited for you. And
Thank you.
And I know because anything Lindelof has written, I'm sure you guys know The Leftovers,
course, yeah.
Watchmen.
Watchmen.
Oh, please. I was getting there.
Incredible.
Like-
Mrs. Davis, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, no, he's such a great writer, and there's 2 other showrunners on that. They're all anyway. I gotta go. congrats.
Thank you so much for
Thank you for coming in. And
Yeah, yo, shout out Collider, by the way.
Yeah.
I read your website. You
Yes.
guys do great journalism. You're a real important venue for the entertainment business. So thank you.
I say thank you sincerely. And now let's go take pictures on the step and repeat.